Thanks to the unfortunate pandemic that was COVID-19, the Catholic Mass has now gone online. And many Catholics are now used to this Mass that they even find it difficult coming to the church to attend Mass physically and receive the body of Christ with the rest of the body of Christ. My guest and I will be looking at this issue of online Mass and seeing its benefits and its demerits and how we can tackle it as Christians. Don't go anywhere. When we come back from this short break, we'll be going straight into the discussion. My name is Chima, and I welcome you to another episode of Catholic Faith Forum. Welcome back to the show. And today we are talking about online Mass. I know a lot of you have benefited in one way or the other from the Mass going online, especially last year that there was an unfortunate lockdown. And thankfully, the church was able to do something like that to help us, continue participating in the celebration. And today I have with me a wonderful guest who is going to be, talking about all of this, the benefits and the other sides of it. And his name is Charles Joseph. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He's a very active youth of the church and an ex-officio of the Sion Archdiocese of Lagos. Welcome once again. All right, let's get straight into it. Why do you think that the church finally considered, taking the Mass online? I know, I want to believe it's not just the pandemic.
Okay, why do I think? So I will start with the Mass. We've always had online Masses, just that it became more pronounced because of the pandemic. So it's an extraordinary situation, an unusual situation that prompted the church saying, okay, look, in the instance where you can't attend Mass physically, try to at least go online with certain things attached to it, basically.
Yeah, and I also think that the church was looking for how to demystify itself because, a lot of our separated brethren feel like we are too inside. So yeah, I think this is one of those things.
Yes, I'll say yes, it could be one of them, even though I don't feel that's a major reason. I know I've had quite a number of conversations with many of our separated brethren who don't quite seem to understand what happens at Mass. But this has given them the opportunity to know what exactly happens. Yes. For those who say we don't read the Bible,
they see,
at least they see what happens at Mass and they see everything that happens.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're really hiding anything.
At all. So we were never hiding anything. So thanks to the online Mass now, they can now see that what we have been saying is real and true. All right. So one of the benefits that I think that this online Mass has actually given us, aside from the fact that it has, opened the church more and even brought Catholics more into the fold, is that it helps for a record of sorts to be created of all the beautiful homilies that we listen to and the beautiful celebrations. So what's your take on that?
Yes, definitely. Sure does. There are times you can go back to, you want to listen to a homily. Most times when you're at Mass physically, you've heard something and then it possibly just enters one ear literally and goes out through the other ear. So when you have these recordings, you can have people go back, hear what has been said. Over and over, specific situations, certain times where you think, this is a needed message that needs to be driven home. You then get to play these things.
It's a really beautiful initiative. I remember at a particular point in time, there was a homily that I held on to for the longest time, and it felt really bad that I didn't have a recording of it.
Yeah.
And now that we have the online Mass, I know I can get more homilies like that to share with people.
Exactly.
Okay, so do you think now, looking at the issue of us opening up to the rest of the world now, people seeing us, especially our separated brethren, how can you gauge their responses so far? I know, like you said, you've had discussions with them. So do you think it has, giving them a new light, or do you still find some of them being stubborn about it?
So, for some of all these people, it's more of they don't want to believe the Catholic Church is what it is. So you have that discussion, or you have that, discussion with them, basically letting them know, look, this was the very first church. This is where we came from. We even handed you guys the Bible that you are currently using. So for those who actually who care to find out what happens in the Catholic Church, they would try to watch, but there are some people who are adamant.
There will always be coconut heads.
Exactly, and perhaps maybe they don't want to get converted.
Well, that's true. So let's hold that thought because we have to go on a short break now to take a breather. And when we come back from this break, we will be looking a little bit more at this issue of online Mass. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. And we've been discussing the issue of the online mass with our guest, Charles Joseph. And we've been having quite an interesting discussion so far. So before we move on to what we're supposed to talk about now, how do you gauge the responses of Catholic youths to this, this whole thing?
I'll say for Catholic youth, I think they've been quite happy. For youth, youth were very adventurous people. We like to try out new things. So it's like a new adventure for youth, basically. And attending online mass, coupled with the fact that the Archbishop said, as at that time, you could attend online mass in lieu of physical mass. So, yeah.
It gave them a lot of, how would I put it, a lot of leeway now to be able to say, I'm not going to church.
Yes.
And I think that's also one of the reasons against it, which even our older people have.
Yes. So I was going to say, that will kind of or eventually lead to breeding lazy youth, in quotes. Lazy in the aspect of not wanting to go to church, but rather attending mass online and forgetting the physical mass itself.
Yeah, the physical part is actually what is most important. The communion of saints is not a communion of online saints.
The communion is the most important thing, that you are going to mass and you are properly in a proper state of mind to receive the Holy Communion. Of course, you can't receive it physically when you attend the online mass.
Truly. All right, so that's obvious that it cannot replace the online mass in any way.
The physical
but what
mass.
about in the church? What about those leeways that the church gives us to not be able to attend online mass? For example, to not be able to attend physical mass. For example, if there is a very sick person, you are given an exemption from the church not to attend mass, and some other exemptions like that. Do you think that the online mass could, replace that for people?
Really, the online mass really can't replace that for people, because if you say you are sick, if someone is ill, there's communion of the sick, where the priest
goes to.
Yes, it goes on communion rounds to the aged and to the sick. So if you are sick, it doesn't mean they still bring the Holy Communion to you. Remember, I said the Holy Communion is the very, very important aspect of the mass. That was the sacrifice that Christ offered for us, which we also reenact. Well, the priest also reenacts on the altar. So that's more like the central part and the very important aspect of it. So in no way will online mass replace the physical mass.
So it is important that no matter what leeway you want, no matter what leeway you have to make sure you find your way.
And I don't know if it still exists. Well, it was, it was during the height of the pandemic itself, during the lockdown, when the bishop gave, when he said people who couldn't attend physical mass, or just as we came out of the lockdown, if you are scared or something, or you're not feeling comfortable, then you can attend the physical mass. But of course, now there is a vaccine out, which the church is encouraging everyone to take the vaccine as well. Vaccine comes out, a cure comes out. Definitely, all these things will be eased out, and we can all start
go back to normal.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take it a bit personal now. The Vatican II tells us that the mass is something that we have to fully, consciously, and actively participate in. I know you've obviously attended online mass once or twice.
Definitely.
So were you able to fully, consciously, and actively participate, seeing that it was online and not the physical? Yeah.
So I would say for me personally, at the initial stages when we first started, yes, I would say I was trying to fully and actively participate in it. But as time goes on, you kind of seem to start getting, will I say in quotes, familiar with the whole thing. Initially, in fact, I knew a family who time for mass, everybody gets dressed. Their TV, where the credential where the TV is, they clear everything and it turns to their altar. Everybody focuses on that. Yes, So so I know for me initially 2 years, I'll have my bath early, get dressed, be in a proper state of mind. Then gradually you find out that you are starting to attend mass with just t-shirts. Then you are just relaxing and you are like, okay, what time is it?
I'm even ashamed to say
and
that.
Then you say, when when the mass is live at so and so time, you're like, I can't make it at this time. I think at 1 o'clock I can go and watch it again. And also, that's where it now brings in the lazy aspect of the whole thing, basically.
So at a point, it is obvious that even though it helps you, again, still bringing it back to the point that physical mass is actually the best.
Yes, and I was going to say, on online masses too, you have lots of distractions. light goes off, you need to go and turn on your gen to put on the light, your phone rings, something is happening in the background and you're easily distracted. As opposed to when you're in church, where you're in that presence and you have, instead of having all these things, you have all your
focus on
your
the
focus is on the altar. You
yeah.
have all the crucifix and all the other blessed images where you're actually focused and you're focused on prayer, basically.
I like the fact that you brought up that point, because the presence of the blessed sacrament in the church is very key.
Yes,
It's very key to helping our worship be what it's supposed to be. And if you're at home, you cannot have the blessed sacrament in your house. Where you be now? It's not possible.
It's not.
All right. So let's look at all of the beautiful ceremonies in the church. For example, the Great Easter Vigil. It's something that I personally look forward to. So do you think the online mass can help to capture the essence of such beautiful ceremonies?
I mean, it will capture it, but might not necessarily capture the essence of the ceremony. As well, you know as well that it is during Easter as Catholics, it's the one time where everybody, of course, we renew our vows every Sunday by when we recite the creed. But that is the one time where everybody, they say, look, you must be in a state of grace to come to do this thing properly. You know, if you are home, I mean, I could be in my t-shirt and just lazing around. The aspect of getting your candles, lighting the candle from the Easter fire.
You even forget.
You know, you forget all that. So it's I mean, you can capture it, but you won't really get the essence. Another thing that just cropped into my mind now. I was speaking with a priest. You know, the Bible was enthroned in our homes of recent. And on the day of enthronement, for some reason, I couldn't attend Mass. And what a priest told me to do, I have an altar in my sitting room. What a priest told me to do was, while the enthronement was ongoing with the Bible, I should also follow the same process with my own Bible. So in instances like that, yes, you can follow it, but other than that, yeah.
I get you. The conversation continues after this short break, so stay with us for more when we come back. Welcome back to the show, and we've been discussing the online mass, the benefits and the other sides to it. In case you missed any part of the show, do not worry. Hold your horses. I'm going to let you know how you can catch up with everything you've missed so far. Our guest is Charles Joseph, and we've been having a very insightful conversation on the online mass. So let's just wrap it up now that we've talked quite a lot. We've also emphasized the fact that even though the online mass is good, the physical mass is actually very important.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that a lot of people have become very comfortable, which we also, pointed to once or twice in our discussion. They've become very comfortable with the online mass. So do you think that the church should, now that we are getting back to normalcy of some sort, there's a COVID-19 vaccine and everything, do you think the church should find a way to take away the focus from that one and make everybody come back to mass, impose measures and all that?
Oh, yes, I mean, not necessarily impose measures. As human beings, you impose things like that and we tend to want to resist all those things. Yeah. So I would say basically, the focus as Catholics, as Christians, it's receiving the body and blood of Christ through the Holy Communion on Sunday. Now, if for some reason you can't receive it, I think you wouldn't just want to sit down at home and just say, oh, next week or next year or something. When you have that in mind that, oh, I need to receive it is food for our soul, basically. And you're like, look, my soul is starving. I need to go and feed my soul. I know, yes, we say the act of spiritual communion, yes. But that doesn't replace the actual communion itself. Yes, that doesn't replace the actual communion itself. So we are all encouraged, or I would rather want to encourage us that at the back of our minds, the most important things while we are going there to go and receive food for our souls, basically. Because whether we like it or not, at the end of the journey on earth here, we are all wanting to go to heaven. And this is one sure path or one thing that is leading us towards this path. So I don't think anyone should starve themselves physically of.
I mean, if you cannot starve yourself of earthly food, why will you starve yourself of heavenly food? You are carving your path to death.
So with it, we shouldn't wait for the church to mandate or ask us to start coming back to church. We should seek every opportunity.
Seek it actively.
Yes, to go for physical mass.
Awesome.
Every day, every time we can.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So to wrap up, tell us how you've been able to, collect yourself. And when this online, in the case of online mass, if you have to attend online mass, tell us how you've been able to collect yourself, your family, or whoever, so that you could be able to, at least be participatory in the mass, so that we won't have distractions here and there.
Yeah, so so for my own family, what we did then, or what we used to do then, is everybody gets dressed, you remove all phones, everything that can basically distract you, and our focus and attention is just on the TV. You clear whatever it is from the credenza in front of the TV. You have your altar, get your sacred images from the altar, place them on the credenza.
For those that don't have altars, so they could place their Bibles or something.
Oh yes, place your Bible. We should all have rosaries. Place your rosary there.
Yeah.
So all these images are means to help us direct our attention and not be distracted. It's more like it's anchoring us to what is going on at that time. So if you have all these things there, you try to minimize all distractions. But of course, you're not in church. You're at home. You can't close out on what's happening outside your house or outside the building. For example, cars driving around, dogs barking, somebody knocking at your gate.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact now, I just thought of something. Pausing mass to go and listen to something. So those are some of the things that it just takes away the whole essence of the physical mass. Yeah. So while the online mass is good, there are some people who, for some reason, maybe due to their health, by virtue of what they do, they can't attend mass. Then perhaps they can attend the online mass
and make sure that they eliminate everything that could distract them at that point in time.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. It's really, really been an amazing discussion. And the main thing we would like you to pick from it is that the online mass is a very good alternative, but it still remains what it is, an alternative. There is nothing that is better than the actual thing. So make sure as much as possible you try. In fact, you are mandated to attend Sunday masses. That's why you are a Christian. That's why you are a Catholic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Charles Joseph, for joining me on this discussion. It's been a pleasure having you. All right, that's our show for today. Our saint of the week is Saint Anastasius. He was one of the first people to condemn the works of Origen, and he was elected to the papacy in the year 399. Anastasius was a Roman by birth, but little is known of his early life. But one thing everybody knows is that he was a pope of great repute. In the year 400, he arranged a council to consider the writings of Origen after receiving a letter from the patriarch Theophilus of Alexandria, expressing strong doubt about Origen's fidelity to Christian teaching. The council condemned Origen's work as a heterodox, and Rufinus of Aquileia wrote to the Pope to defend his translation of Origen's First Principles, which St. Jerome had attacked. Anastasius upheld the council's decision, and that was how the church discarded Origen's teachings. He also urged the church in North Africa to continue its struggle against Donatism. Saint Anastasius was a really great pope in the history of the Catholic Church, and I encourage you to use this medium to learn more about the popes, the successors of St. Peter, who have led us all through perils and now into our prosperous stage. Saint Anastasius died in the year 401. Now we'll move over to the Know Your Faith team for today's episode of Know Your Faith. Stay with us.
But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own people, chosen to proclaim the wonderful acts of God, who called you out of darkness into his own marvelous light. This is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. Today we'll be reflecting on this passage. Welcome to Know Your Faith series. My name is Judith. See how Peter describes God's special relationship with Israel. As Christians, we are a spiritual race, since we share the same spiritual father, and we can refer to ourselves as a holy nation, set apart from others who do not share our faith. We are a royal priesthood. In Israel, under the law, one tribe was given the task of serving as priest, performing the duties of mediator between God and the rest of the nation. Very few had the honor and responsibility of appearing in God's presence. But the beautiful thing today is that because of Christ, we as believers can actually communicate with God without necessarily asking for a mediator. The proof that we are God's own people is that we declare his praises. We know him, we love him, we serve him. This we were taught in catechism class. And by doing this, we fulfilled our purpose. We belong to him, and he has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. We will continually ask for his grace to not want darkness by our thoughts, words, and action. Thanks for joining us today. Please like our videos, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, be bold, be Catholic.
Thank you to the Know Your Faith team for that wonderful one. I hope you were able to pick one or two things from everything that they have said. Don't forget that if you missed any part of this very amazing discussion, you can catch it on our YouTube channel, Dominican Media Presents, where we will have this episode and other episodes of Catholic Faith Forum for you to enjoy. The conversation does not end here though. It continues on our Instagram on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. using the hashtag CFFChatroom. Follow us on Instagram and other social media platforms using the handle at CFF on TV. And join us on Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Instagram as we will be answering the question, has the online mass helped your faith in any way? We would love to hear from you, and we would love to know how it helped your faith during the pandemic and afterwards. Thank you once again to our guest, Charles Joseph. Very grateful to have had you here. We hope you will come again when we call again. All right, so thank you so much for listening to us. And if you would like to sponsor or support this show in any way, call the number showing on your screen right about now, or visit our website, dominicanmediang.com, where you can see other means for you to support the show. And until we come your way with another episode of Catholic Faith Forum, keep being saints in jeans and shirts.